Hello, I'm Suzie Candlin, the European trainer for Cricut, and today we're going to make this personalised embroidery hoop for your stocking. To complete this project, you're going to need an embroidery hoop and your stocking, some fabric stabiliser, iron-on vinyls, some ribbon and some decorative ribbon just to tie your hoop to your stocking. In order to be able to cut fabric with the Cricut Explore, you first need to stabilise your fabric. To do this, you're going to need an iron-on stabiliser, such as the Heat and Bond products. You're going to take your piece of fabric and cut a piece of your Heat and Bond to fit that piece of fabric. You're going to place the glue side down of the Heat and Bond onto the back of your fabric, and then we're going to iron it into place and leave it to cool before you use it. So on the landing page, if you go to the account button and sign in with your usual username and password, we're going to create a new project. You then need to create a text box, so add text, and we're going to type the name to go on the stocking. You can space the letters closer together as well, and this will minimise the waste of your vinyl. You then need to size your project. I need this to be about 3.5 inches by an inch, so I'm just going to unlock the padlock so that I can change the height of my letters. The next thing I'm going to do is to put in some stars. The star is one of the free shapes, so I can import a star and then resize it as I want. I'm going to copy and paste that, and then one of them I'm going to resize to be just a fraction bigger and copy and paste that one. The next thing we need to do is to create a circle. So again, in insert shapes, bring up a circle, and I want this to cover my hoop. I have a 5-inch hoop, so I'm going to create a circle that is 7 inches in diameter. I'm actually going to copy and paste that because I'm going to cut another one to be able to back my hoop. Now this one I'm going to resize to be just over 5 inches. And before we go to the map preview screen, I want to be able to cut the two circles from different pieces of fabric and the stars from glitter iron-on. At the moment, because they're all the same colour, they'll be loaded onto the same mat. So in order to change this, what I'm going to do is change the colour on screen of my circles. Now we're going to the map preview screen, and we're going to start by cutting the smaller of our circles. But before we go beyond this screen, we're going to mirror image the name, because you have to cut your iron-on vinyl in reverse. Once we're ready, we're going to load our fabric. You're going to take away the backing of the Heat and Bond, and that just simply peels up. So we're going to load this into an Explore, place the mat underneath the two guidelines, push against the rollers and load the mat. I'm going to change the smart dial to the fabric setting, and when we've set the smart dial we can press go. Once it's cut, we're going to remove the fabric, and then I'm going to use the spatula just to release the image that I want. Now with the iron-on vinyls, you have a shiny backing sheet one side and the back of the vinyl exposed on the other. You always place the vinyl with the backing sheet against the mat, and again use your scraper tool so you've got good contact with the mat and no air bubbles. Place the mat underneath the rollers and load. I'm going to turn the smart dial to the custom button, and on screen pick from the drop down list iron-on vinyl Cricut glitter. I can then press go. unload that mat, and then we're going to cut the name. The next mat is the wording. We're going to use vinyl iron-on light, so it's a thinner vinyl than the glitter one, and again it's got its shiny backing sheet, and that's the back of the vinyl itself. So we place the backing onto the mat, push against the rollers. For this product we need to change the smart dial to iron on and then cut. Carefully remove that from the mat. Again, remove the heating thing to place this, making sure that the heat, so as long as I have load my mat and turn the smart dial to fabric and cut. And load the mat. First thing we're going to do is trim round as close as I can to the cut image. To remove the vinyl that you don't want, use your weeder tool to hook and remove the waste areas. To iron on vinyl, what you need to have is a piece of greaseproof paper or copier paper, just to protect your iron plate from the plastic backing, and then run it across slowly backwards and forwards for about 10 to 20 seconds depending on how efficient your iron is. You can tell when it's melted the glue on the underside of the vinyl, because as you peel back the backing, the lettering stays in place. Now I want to put some stars onto the surface of my hoop fabric, but we've got this stabiliser on the back. If I was to heat this, it would melt onto my ironing board. So what I'm going to do is place a piece of copier paper just to protect my ironing board. Remember to put the copier paper over the top. Okay, now we're going to place the fabric over the hoop. So I'm going to undo the hoop screw, take out the inner piece and place it in the centre. I'm going to place my ribbon, and then I'm going to put the top outer part of the hoop back on, and then do the screw turn up so that it catches it all tightly. I'm going to use a little bit of fabric glue. All I'm going to do is neaten the back of this. This does take a few minutes to take. I'm just going to fold down the fabric, and then we can either glue this into place or you can stitch it into place. You can then tie your hoop onto your stocking. So I'm just going to pass the ribbon through the top of the hoop and then tie it in a bow to the top of my stocking. Don't tie the bow too tight, because then it allows the hoop to dangle a bit away from the top of the stocking, and that's your finished project. If you'd like any more information on the products used today, please visit the Hobbycraft website or blog, or call in to one of the Hobbycraft stores and speak to one of our colleagues.